Hathaway boat launch replacement, City of Vancouver's Marine Park, and several Clark County parks projects, hard to say that one, including the Lewis River Greenway and Frenchman's Bar Regional Park. Overall, including all the WRP categories, Clark County residents have benefited $44 million worth in WWRP grants for 63 projects, including the 20 wildlife and habitat projects and 8 trail projects. Going forward, the Parks and Recreation projects are the most popular of all the categories for the next 2 years in the budget requests. We're aware that there are several here from this area in that request. Again, I want to congratulate you on a very successful water access project. Happy fall. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Renee Tkach, and I am here representing Friends of the Columbia Gorge. And I am the project manager for a project called Gorge Towns to Trails. And I'd like to start with one of my favorite quotes by a late comedian. Most of the young people will probably not know who this person is, but Milton Berle has one of my favorite quotes that I think really captures the essence of what happened here at the Port of Camas-Washougal. If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. And I think it's a perfect way to describe what the Port of Camas-Washougal did. But they didn't just build a door. They flung that door wide open and they laid a welcome mat that welcomed community members, agencies, nonprofits like who I work for, national parks, and as we've heard from our funding agencies here in the state of Washington, Washington Wildlife Recreation Coalition, and the Washington Wildlife Recreation Program. This was all not by accident. This was a well-planned and thought-out process that the staff of the port staff and commissioners really wanted to take this project and get it off the ground, like Dave said, not just for the port, but for the community. Well, one of those community members was able to put the dots together as the port was beginning to talk about that project. And that person was Larry Keister, who you'll be hearing about later, or you'll be hearing from in a little bit. And he saw the opportunity to connect 2 big regional visions that were happening here. This project right here, where we're celebrating today, and Gorge Towns to Trails, which is an effort to create a 200-mile loop trail system that would wrap around the Columbia River Gorge, connecting small towns like Washougal into wild places, new vistas, but not in a backcountry way where you're not seeing the towns. You're actually staying the night at B&Bs and lodges and sipping wine and sleeping in comfy beds. This isn't new. This is happening around the world, and this is a world-class destination and a place, as we can see, if even on a cloudy day like today. The Friends of the Columbia Gorge launched this campaign about 4.5 years ago, and finding partners like the port really has helped us get the momentum behind this project to make it a reality. And today we are standing here and celebrating one of the first gateway to the Gorge Towns to Trails towns. And I think it's a really good opportunity to give thanks to the Port of Camas-Washougal and the city also in the vision that's behind this bigger vision. So I'd like to take a moment just to give them a round of applause. This vision doesn't just take us east, though, and into the gorge. It actually connects and is part of the puzzle of connecting west. And Clark County now has the vision to create a trail system that would connect Ridgefield National Wildlife Refuge to Steigerwald National Wildlife Refuge. But it doesn't have to stop there. As I was saying earlier, it can continue on and connect a third wildlife refuge, which is Pierce National Wildlife Refuge, which gets us to North Bonneville and on to Stevenson. And that is one of the campaign areas that we are prioritizing right now, is connecting Washougal to Stevenson in the next 5 to 10 years of work in making a trail corridor happen. We're 80% there in public lands to host that trail, and we're 46% there in trails already connecting into place. Imagine a person landing from an international destination at the Portland International Airport, and coming here to Washougal and spending the night at Best Western or one of the bed and breakfasts here in town, and having breakfast at our bar in downtown Washougal, lacing up their boots, maybe stopping off at Pendleton Woolen Mills, and hitting the trail. This is what an international world-class experience is about. And this is going to happen here, and Washougal will be that town that lifts it forward. I know this is a big vision, but I challenge you here today to keep the positive momentum that Port has begun and continue working together to build something bigger than a regional attraction, but an international destination. This vision will only be realized through continued partnership, and with over 100 supporters and partners, we are well on our way to making this dream happen for Washougal and Gorge communities. So I'd like to end with another powerful saying that is an African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Thank you.
Wow, what an amazing sight. So my name is Kyle Woodley. I'm with Killian Pacific, and Lance Killian wanted to apologize for not being able to make it here today, unfortunately. And he and Dave Ripp said, well, why don't you step in? You've been intimately involved with this project for the last year. Not a big deal. A couple people, a couple residents, should be no problem. Clearly, they were lying to me. I am not a public speaker, so I will be quick. But I think first and foremost, we want to thank and congratulate the Port, the state legislators, and all of the other supporters and collaborators that have made this beautiful park and trail a reality. I think that this is definitely community building at its finest. I stand here and it's so wonderful to be able to visually, physically, emotionally connect with, what's possibly our greatest natural resource in the Pacific Northwest, which is the mighty Columbia River. It is truly one of the most compelling settings on the Columbia River in Southwest Washington, and they've done an amazing job taking advantage of that. I think looking into the future, Killian Pacific is really privileged and looking forward to participating in the continued development of what we're calling Parker's Landing, which has a lot of historical significance. And it is going to be a one-of-a-kind, vibrant community, very much like the vision that Renee just spoke about. It, I think, will truly, be a great outcome and an example of continued public-private collaboration that has already made this possible. And that will, that continued collaboration will really be for the greater good. So with that, I will say, Killian Pacific as a company, and me personally, having worked on this project and the future project, we feel extremely fortunate to be a part of this community building. And we greatly thank you for supporting this and look forward to continued support. And, really, I think we just can thank everybody for this permanent and wonderful investment in the Washougal Waterfront Park and Trail that has made it a reality. So thank you.
Martha and Richard, what a great idea. Thank you. My name is Larry Keister. The ideas of the Waterfront Trail came from the citizens of Camas and Washougal. Over a year's time, 49 people met to discuss what they wanted to see and what was important to the Waterfront Trail. The goal of the port was to protect the waterfront for public access, but the details came from the citizens. This piece of land has rich history that needs to be preserved. The story of the Native Americans, the core of discovery, and the story of our very own erratic boulder are part of our local heritage. Environmental stewardship is used to protect this waterfront property. The restrooms are solar powered, and the project has salmon-safe ratings. The trail is designed to maximize the view of the Columbia River and Mount Hood. This is the gateway to the Columbia River Gorge and the National Scenic Area. The waterfront trail will join Lacamas Trail System, the Washougal to Stevenson Trail, and the Town to Trails project to create a destination for tourists and for local residents. The trail will be a location of community events, a gathering place for our community. It will link Camas and Washougal. People can walk from Camas through the port, along the dike to Washougal and onto the Steigerwald Wildlife Refuge. It is a recreational and economic benefit to our local citizens and a destination location for tourists. I would like to recognize the Port of Camas-Washougal commissioners for having the insight as to how important this property is to the economic and recreational benefits of our cities. And I would like to remember Commissioner Mark Lampton for taking a bold step and making the Washougal Waterfront Trail a reality. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Heather Jordan, and I'm the owner of D Studio 21. And we made it. It's the grand opening of Waterfront Park and Trail. Let's have an applause for that. Through blood, sweat, and perhaps some tears, we made it to this day, and we brought together two communities to make it happen. I want to give special thanks to the community members, the port staff, the commissioners, and my creative team at D Studio 21 for pouring yourselves into this project. Your ideas and passion shaped a tremendous vision for our waterfront park. When D Studio 21 initially sat down with the port leadership to review strategies for the park brand, the conversation quickly morphed into a discussion encompassing all of the port's recreational assets. Why? Because creating a cohesive brand experience impacts a person's ability to access and enjoy both communities. It also helps us create a visual identity that represents our Camas-Washougal bond and partnership through the use of trails and recreation. There are three core values that define the port's recreation brand. Number one, building connection. Number two, preserving nature. Number three, embracing history. The land we are standing on today is rich with history. D Studio 21 studied the stories of original explorers and landowners who paved the way for future generations. You'll find interpretive signs and land stationed throughout the trail talking about the unique individuals, landmarks, and events that define this area. Today we stand on the shoulders of our predecessors as we protect the natural beauty of the waterfront and make it accessible to everyone. The themes of preserving nature and exploration were instrumental in the development of the tagline, "It's our nature to explore." This double entendre perfectly describes our past, present, and future. You'll notice the design elements are simplistic and clean to prevent distraction from the natural beauty that surrounds the trail. Vibrant, yet friendly colors are used to denote key areas within the park. Every detail, from the use of symbolic icons to the inclusion of neighboring trails, supports a brand image that is relevant to the core values of the port's recreation brand. As an extension of the park, you can visit portwaterfrontparks.com. This site includes port trails, additional history, and town-to-trail maps for Camas and Washougal. The mission of D Studio 21 is to provide quality design connect communities, and evolve brands with purpose. As you can imagine, this project perfectly aligned with our passions and gave us an opportunity to support our local community. I want to thank Vivaco for their support and expertise in the development of sign structures. D Studio 21 is honored to have had the opportunity to serve both communities in such an important capacity. We look forward to working with both communities for many years to come. Happy trails.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Chris Hathaway with the Lower Columbia Estuary Partnership. We're a bi-state nonprofit that works on Columbia River issues from Bonneville Dam to the ocean. And we love working with the Camas-Washougal area. We've been working out here for probably about 15 years. First off, working with Wilson Cady, getting students from the Camas-Washougal area out to the Steigerwald National Wildlife Refuge to plant trees and pull invasive species. We're super excited now to be working with the Port, the Steigerwald National Wildlife Refuge, Friends of the Gorge, and lots of other folks on a big restoration project at the Steigerwald National Wildlife Refuge. It's going to be really exciting, and it's going to make this trail even better. I'm also here to talk about another trail. It's a water trail. Imagine what Renee said so eloquently about Gorge Towns to trails and apply that to the water. The Lower Columbia River Estuary Partnership has been coordinating the Lower Columbia River Water Trail for about 10 to 12 years now. And we went the less challenging route and took a trail medium to water that is already there and made it a much more easier trail to put together. Essentially, it links launch and landing sites, campsites, restaurants like the Puffin Cafe, lodging, all up and down the Lower Columbia River from Bonneville Dam to the ocean in Oregon and Washington. The Port of Camas-Washougal and this new site is an amazing spot for paddlers. It does a number of key things. It separates paddlers away from the motorboat boat ramp, and a lot of people really appreciate that. It makes it a lot easier to get up to Reed Island and points east in the gorge because you don't have to come out of the port's big marina where there's a big current. People who have paddled out of there know that it can be kind of dicey coming out of the marina and coming back east. So this is a really exciting spot for paddlers. And what it does is it says to paddlers, people using the water trail, that the Port of Camas-Washougal and the community of Camas-Washougal really wants paddlers to come to this area. You guys have everything that a paddler would want, just as Renee said. There's lodging, there's on-water food, there's easy access to town, and there's a great port facility and a great new access point. So organizationally, we're super excited about working with the Camas-Washougal area, both what we've done in the past and what we're looking forward to doing in the future. So thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dan Miller, and I work for the National Park Service. I work for a program called the Rivers, Trails, and Conservation Assistance Program. We provide local assistance to locally led and locally driven outdoor recreation and conservation projects. In this case, the Port applied for assistance for a grant of technical assistance, and I came here and I visited. And we took a walk. I think it was Kim and I think the director also might have been there. We took a walk on the site. I think maybe this was blackberries, Himalayan blackberry, or it might have been gravel. I can't remember. But that's not what got the Park Service and myself excited about this project. What got us excited about this project was the fact that the community, as many communities are doing along the river, are previously, we had sort of turned our backs to the river. We had worked in the river, fishing, logging, that sort of thing. And we didn't, we worked down here. We didn't want to play down here after we were done working. But now that things are changing, people are beginning to look back and turning their backs and looking towards the river. And I think what the port and what the community is doing here is going to be a model for other ports and other communities around the region. And so we also looked at it and got excited about it because of the opportunity to provide close to home recreation. Portland has lots of trails, but Camas and Washougal, not so much. But you all are working hard to change that. And it's nice for someone to be able to just open up their door, get on their bike, lace up their sneakers, leash their dog, and come down to a place like this and to be able to recreate locally. It's also helping to address and promote a healthy, active lifestyle. So those were some of the reasons why the Park Service wanted to get involved and help out and be a part of the committee that was made up of mostly some stakeholders, but mostly community members. And we met month in and month out to talk about the issues of the park development, what types of things, what type of design elements that the community wanted to see, and how we could better connect the communities to it. I'd like to take a moment now, and for anybody who attended any of those meetings, can you raise your hand, please? So these are the people that gave up opportunities to hang out with their spouses. They gave up opportunities to watch reruns of Parks and Recreation on Netflix. They gave up opportunities to see their kids at baseball games so that they could come and talk about what a great opportunity this is and how they wanted to help shape it to make it part of their community. So I'd like to give them all a big hand for spending so much time. And then I want us to pause for a second and take a look, and for those who remember just what this site looked like, and now how amazing it looks right now. But this is, and just as some speakers alluded, this is just the beginning. I am so excited to bring my family here now, but also in 10 or 15 years, because I can't wait to see what Parker's Landing is going to look like, how it's going to bring even more vibrancy down to both here on the waterfront, but also Camas and Washougal. And most importantly, I'm looking forward to being able to come here to the park, but easily get into both of your communities on a bike or walking. So again, thank you. I really appreciate being here.
Thanks, Dan. I'm also Dan. I'm Dan Kent, Executive Director and co-founder of Salmon Safe. You've heard us mentioned a couple of times. We're an environmental certification organization founded by a leading river and native fish conservation group. And we work across the region, really across the West Coast, focused on inspiring water quality protection, habitat conservation, and large-scale biodiversity enhancement. And this project for us is a super special project because over nearly 2 decades, we have been working across the Columbia Basin, working all the way up into the headwaters of the Columbia River with private landowners up into Canada. Hundreds of vineyards, orchards, farms, urban sites, development projects. And we're realizing this is actually our first project right on the river. So it's super exciting for us. And you may ask, what makes this park a salmon safe park? What makes this project salmon safe? Well, as Dave mentioned, a big part of it is stormwater. This project, every drop of rain that falls on this project is infiltrated on site. All the stormwater is treated on site, which is super important given the ecological sensitivity of this site. It's also protection of the riparian forest with the trail system going in and restoration of that forest. It's battling, and this is an ongoing battle, of course, but battling invasive plants in the riparian buffer and restoring that. It's drought tolerant in native plants throughout the park, reducing irrigation inputs and promoting conservation. And then in terms of long-term management of this park, the port has committed to salmon-safe management of the park, minimal pesticide inputs, and irrigation inputs. So all in all, it's a commitment to ongoing stewardship. So I wanted to invite Dave back up, if he's around, to present Salmon Safe certification. Salmon Safe certification, it's not your typical plaque. This is a handcrafted Oregon Highway sign sculpted into a salmon. This is a legally obtained Oregon Highway sign. Used to be a stop sign.
Salmon colored.
Salmon colored. And it's a great honor today to present this to the Port of Camas-Washougal. Thank you.